Hey guys, and welcome back to our channel, The Upper Hand. If you've been following us over the last few weeks, you know that we've been doing videos on standardized assessments. So we're going to continue that trend today, and we'll be talking about the Purdue Pegboard test. Stick around and feel like you'll learn something. All right, so the Purdue Pegboard test is used to assess finger and hand dexterity, both unilaterally and bilaterally. All right, but first I just want to talk about the different parts of the assessment. So you've got on your far left-hand side, you've got the pins or the pegs, as well as on the far right-hand side, you have the same thing. And in the two middle trays, you have the collars as well as the washers. So there are actually 4 different tests within this assessment that we're going to be talking about today. One being filling them all in with your right hand, then filling them all in with your left hand, and then doing this bilaterally. And then the last test would be the assembly part, which we're going to talk about further in the video. All right, so we'll go ahead and start with the first battery of tests. First, I am right-handed, so you will start with the right hand cup. So you will first fully explain the test to the patient and make sure they're understanding exactly what you're wanting from them. You're going to tell them that this is to assess how quickly and accurately you can perform this test. Make sure that they know that they will have time to practice before actually administering the test or starting the timer. So I've had a chance to practice, so we're going to go ahead and start the assessment. So as soon as the examiner says go, I will start with my right hand, put as many in as I can, starting from the top, going down to the bottom, and picking up one at a time.
Ready? Go. Stop.
All right, so 16, I believe. So you would record that score. We'll go ahead and remove these to get them out of the way. It's really okay if you just leave them in there for the next assessment when you do the left hand, because it shouldn't get in the way, but you're going to want to remove them later anyway, so we'll go ahead and get those out of the way. Now we're going to do the exact same thing with the left hand. Make sure your patient understands exactly what is expected of them, and even let them practice with the left hand if they need to, and we're going to do the same exact thing.
Ready? Go. Stop.
Okay, 13 on that one. Typically your non-dominant hand will be a little less, so that is something to take into effect. One thing I didn't mention earlier is if I were to pick one up and accidentally drop it, don't try to pick that up. Go straight back into the cup and grab another one, because that's going to take up more time trying to pick that one up. So let's go ahead and remove that one. So your third, and of course you're recording these numbers as you go. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and go to the third battery of test, and this one is the one that you're doing bilaterally. So you're going to have the patient use the right hand to pick out of the right cup and the left hand out of the left side. You're going to be doing that at the same time and putting these in bilaterally. Again, you're going to give the patient a second to practice this, and this again will be another 30-second assessment. So let's go ahead and do that.
Ready? Go.
Okay, so on the last one I just performed, I just wanted to make a quick note about how to score that. I got down to the 12th level, and you're going to count, the score for that will be 12, even though we put 24 pins or pegs in. You want to count that by the number of pairs that they placed in the board. So 12 would be the score on that. We'll talk about the scoring a little bit later in the video. So now we're going to go straight into the last assessment, or last battery in this assessment, and that is going to be the assembly. So just to talk about how to perform the assembly, we're going to take, first let's just talk about a full assembly. So first you're going to stick the peg in. You will then take a washer, and the washer will be placed on after the peg. Then your collar will go on top of that, and then the washer would be last. Okay, so that would be considered an assembly. That will be, you would get credit for one there. Okay, now let's talk about how the test requires us to perform this. So if you're right-handed, you're going to start, pick up a peg or a pin and put that in, while simultaneously, while you're putting that in, you're going to be grabbing a washer with your left hand and putting that on. At the same time, we're going to be grabbing a peg, or excuse me, a collar, putting that on top, and then back to another washer. So both hands are working the entire time through this assessment. You definitely want to make sure your patient has time to practice this, because this is a little more difficult than the ones we've been doing. Okay, so have them practice. This assessment, you actually get a minute to perform this, so make sure that you note that when you're performing this assessment.
Ready? Go. Stop.
All right, so you notice I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 full assemblies, and that consists of 4 pieces. So to score this one, we're going to be doing 7 times 4, that's 28, and then you will count this peg as a score too, so 29 would be the total score there. So you're counting the total number of pieces placed on the board.
Okay guys, so we're going to talk really quick about scoring the Purdue Pegboard test. So you do want to keep up with each of the individual scores that the examinee scored, and keep those recorded. So for Parker, his left hand placement was 13 pins, his right hand placement, dominant hand, was 16 pins, and then his bilateral pair placement was 12 pins, 12 pairs of pins, you record the pairs there. Then his assembly was 29 pieces. So if you read through the manual, it does indicate that you'll need the individual scores, and also you'll need to add the left placement, right placement, and bilateral pin placement together. So in Parker's case, that would be 13 plus 12 plus 16, so that would be a total of 41. So you will need that sum score for part of what you're going to plug into the score sheet. Speaking of score sheets, there are printable score sheets that you can plug your scores into to score your patient or examinee, or they also have actually have an app now for iOS and Android that you can download easily and plug your scores into that. And if you have a smartphone or a tablet that you can plug those into, I would say that that'd probably be a little easier, would streamline the process.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, we talked about today the standardized assessment portion of it, and it had 4 different sub-tests. That did take quite some time, and obviously we all work in fast-paced clinics, so you may not have time for all of that. So if you want to do just some informal testing on your own, give the patient 30 seconds and just see how many they can do with their right, see how many they can do with their left, record that, come back in a few weeks, do the same test, make sure that they're improving in that. that's certainly fine to do. You just won't be able to refer to any of the normative data for those scores.
Okay guys, so lastly we want to leave you with a little trivia question. Who do you think performs the Purdue Pegboard test faster, male or female? Okay, I don't know if I agree with this. Parker probably doesn't either. But according to the data, females tend to perform faster on the Purdue Pegboard test. So.
And other demographics that's going to affect your score or affect the normative data would be the age of the patient performing the assessment as well. Hey guys, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch this video. We hope you learned something today and that this was helpful to you in some way.
So you know our goal for this channel, The Upper Hand, is to give you guys the upper hand as you seek to better understand conditions of the upper extremity and just all topics related to occupational therapy in general.
So please take a second out of your day, make sure you like this video and subscribe to this channel so that you can be sure that you're going to see all of our upcoming videos. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next time.